This new moon in Virgo is a great day to start something you know is going to take a lot of motivation and something important enough for you not to put up with any bullshit or wasting time around. So if you are excited to dive into what exactly we can expect from this new moon in Virgo, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you are always up to date with what the stars have in store for you. If you have not already seen your September forecast for this month ahead, make sure that you watch those on my channel for your rising sign so you know exactly where this is showing up in your chart. And before we get started, reminder that Swan Bitcoin is the easiest place to dollar cost average or repeatedly buy into the best asset in the world, not financial advice. So if you click on the link below, you can start dropping in monthly or however often you want to investments into Bitcoin. This is a good way to time in the market instead of timing the market and just buy in repeatedly over time. I do this, I use Swan. You get $10 of Bitcoin when you do your first deposit below. Check it out if you want. So this new moon in Virgo is happening on August 6th, 2021 at 8:51 p.m. Eastern time. And the sun and the moon are together in the second Virgo or third part. The second, it's the middle section of Virgo. And new moon, sun and moon are always together. They're together, and that darkness where the sun and the moon, they're together. There's not a bright moon reflecting the sun. It is a dark moon. The new moon is hidden essentially. It is a new beginning. It's an internal time of a clean slate. And in the second decan of Virgo, it is associated with the Nine of Pentacles or the Lord of Gain tarot card. The Nine of Pentacles is around gaining through efficiency, through humble, little by little building of something that is worth putting in the time for. It also involves making something better by critiquing it, by pruning it, by removing weeds or overgrowth. And this decan is actually ruled by Venus. So in order to grow with Venus in discerning Virgo, we have to remove that which is hindering us or a waste of time or energy. It's incremental. It's not dramatic. And it's not a fun energy, but it's a little by little follow through energy. And this new moon then I see around taking inventory and being critical about what we want to do in the world and what it'll take possibly sacrificing in order to get there in the least amount of resistance. It's exactly trine Uranus by degree. And this is great for breaking out of a rut or having courage in a process maintenance fashion. Like great for being like, you know what? I'm not going to sacrifice my energy. I'm not going to take on that extra task. I'm going to keep things simple. Taking a different approach, taking a different route home is a good way of thinking about this. Might be, your usual route has worked for you, but you're like, why don't we try this shortcut, even if it means like crossing a fucking bridge that you're worried might break. Like if it cuts time, risk reward. And Mars is in Virgo for this. And Mars in Virgo, Mars being the weapon, is like the surgeon's scalpel. It is not a fucking machete. It is a scalpel. It's very particular, it's very incisive, and it is not meant to harm, but instead remove that which is a hindrance. I think of an archer or like a bow and arrow as a very Mars and Virgo quality. Actually, fun fact, when I grew up and I went to camp in Texas, shout out to Camp Longhorn. I fucking went to Camp Longhorn for a long time. I got some award. I got I forgot what they're called, but I got an award in archery when I was I think I was 11. I don't know. I used to be really good at archery. I don't know. Well, maybe I go back and I try that again. But this Mars in Virgo is in a very tight trine to Pluto and Capricorn. So I think of that as one match or one bow and arrow that lights a huge fire. One choice you make now sets off the chain of events for effortlessness. You just have to put in the effort to make the fucking decision here and now. I'm gonna get so many comments about cussing in this video and I don't care. This is also with Mars opposite Neptune. I have this aspect. I have Mars in Leo though, opposite Neptune and Capricorn within a pretty tight out of sign opposition. Mars opposite Neptune is a dilution of competitive instinct, and it's a removal of the ability to see the direct opponent in front of you. I think this is maybe one of the most challenging singular things in my chart, even though it's part of a huge T-square, because it removes the ability to understand when I'm in a competition or have competitiveness. There's, I believe, a fear of competition that is disguised as indecision or playing dumb. That's what I found, is that deep down I can realize that I might be in a kind of, competitive, almost combative thing with other parties, but I just refuse to see it because I don't want to have to engage in that dynamic. And there's a blurredness of where we see our target. So even though it's a one strike match kind of ignition here, we're refusing to see what that could mean for someone else in front of us. Mercury and Venus are in Libra. Mercury is the ruler and it's in the sign of Venus. So Mercury is ruling the new moon in Virgo. Mercury rules Virgo. It's in Libra, Venus's sign. And with this happening in the second decan of Virgo, a Venus ruled decan, there's a lot of Mercury Venus going on, like saying the right thing to appease the situation that is direct but also compassionate. Venus thrives in its home sign of Libra. That is social cohesion. That is smooth talker. I love Venus in Libra. My Venus in Leo, it gets along very well with Venus in Libras. But Venus is also square Pluto. So it's how keeping the peace can sometimes ruffle feathers. Sometimes everyone knows that there's a fucking elephant in the room, and if you don't choose a side, everyone is pissed. Like, sometimes being the middleman sucks. Like, being a moderate nowadays is somehow an extremist. That's a good example of that. And it might be demonstrating that we're being manipulative by not taking a side. With Mars opposite Neptune, us playing dumb might be kind of manipulative, so we don't have to own up to actually taking responsibility for something. But with Venus trine Saturn and trine Jupiter by sign, there's a bit open-mindedness to maybe reconsider how we can still harmonize without taking a divisive right, wrong, left, right side. If you already know what house this is showing up for you in, where Virgo is in your chart, your whole sign Virgo house, let me know down below where this very no bullshit, starting something very dedicatedly is happening for you. I'd be really interested to hear. So in the United States' chart, Mars is conjunct the United States Neptune in the 10th house. And the 10th house is the public figure, often the president or the public facing, kind of leader. I think probably Biden. It's showing that Mars on Neptune, he's making a decision that seems very aggressive, or I'm sorry, the decision that he makes is fairly aggressive and assertive, but it's seen in an overly idealized or media glosses over it light. I would watch out for something that's actually kind of a big deal, but isn't covered as if it is. Mars is ruling the United States 5th and 12th houses, which looks like with the 5th house often in political charts being land or colonies that are away from the mainland, and the 12th house being hidden secrets or an amount of illegality. It could be something around doing something kind of aggressive or direct for land or a divergent piece connected to the US that we don't technically have that good of a association with, and he's doing something that's kind of why is that not being spoken of honestly? Saturn is also increasingly close to the South Node in the United States 3rd house. So with Saturn, South Node, 3rd house of communication, letting go of media, I think there could be increased, this is not surprising, you all know that I'm really, really worried about this in the long run, social media censorship. Saturn, South Node, 3rd house, giving up freedoms around social media. Whenever the 3rd house is activated, I've noticed generally some social media BS is as well. Jupiter is also close to the moon. Moon ruling the 8th house, money printing. I'm gonna guess a new moon comes around and it involves some stimulus checks. Let's just fuck up the economy more. That's an op-ed comment though. I'd still say it even if I was just, whatever. Mercury is also close to the natal Saturn in Libra, which is exalted. So news about something financially implemented in my opinion, probably coming up with Saturn ruling the 2nd house and the 3rd house. In the New York Stock Exchange's chart, this is pretty close to the natal Mars in Virgo. Venus is pretty close to the natal Jupiter in Libra. Pretty mixed chart, probably a local top as the new moons generally even on a only uptrend are the local tops. Full moons are local bottoms. You can watch my lunar trading videos for a little bit on that. I would say it looks like a local top, but nothing too active in the New York Stock Exchange chart. In Bitcoin's chart, new moons are reliably local tops. Again, this will not show momentum. This is not a Pico market top. This is local top, up and down on whatever momentum it's going on. It's also trying the Bitcoin sun. I will say that Mars is close to Bitcoin's natal Saturn. This would have already passed a few days exact earlier, so it's not that cute. I will say that it looks like from here it's definitely going to correct, as is the new moon full moon cycle usually. In Ethereum's chart, Mars is sextile ETH's natal Mars. That's nice. Uranus is still square ETH's Mercury, which is volatile as hell, and definitely I'd be careful around ETH for the month of August into September. I'm not trading ETH on leverage as I speak in the very, very end of July. There's a day left. I'm not trading ETH on leverage. I'm trading Bitcoin on leverage. Saturn is opposite ETH's sun, which still looks like a down from here kind of dynamic. So new moons always tend to correct afterwards, even if it's locally and then we shoot up. So I'd prepare for that. So to pull a final tarot card for this new moon in Virgo, we have stop loss, which is temperance. Temperance is actually associated with Libra, with the scales, with weighing things out and mediating. So stop loss. Where do you need to cut your losses around this? What is just not fucking worth it anymore that you need to draw a boundary around, even if that means exiting from a situation that people want you to take sides on? So if you enjoyed this, leave me a like, leave me a comment down below for how this is showing up for you, and feel free to hit that notification bell because I still get people saying they like don't see my videos in their subscription box. It happens, YouTube is weird, and I would want to let you know when stuff is important. So yeah, hope all is well. Hope you're having an awesome September into Virgo season coming soon, and I will see you in the next, or Virgo season now, I mean, and I will see you in the next one.